I found a letter from my future self. You ever have one of those mornings where you wake up thinking today is going to be boring, ordinary, and then bam, your life decides to pull a 180? Yeah, that was me yesterday. Well, yesterday and today, depending on how you look at it, because things were already messy. I live in a tiny apartment in the city, third floor, no elevator. My life is, in the grand scheme of things, kind of vanilla. I work in marketing for a company that treats creativity like a mythological creature, something you hear about but never actually see. My social life is mostly binge watching TV shows I've already seen 5 times, scrolling through memes and pretending I'm going to cook something healthy that ends up being 3 packets of ramen. Anyway, yesterday started exactly like that. I was dragging myself out of bed, my hair looking like a bird's nest that had been struck by lightning, when I noticed it. A small envelope slipped under my apartment door. At first, I thought, great, probably a bill or a pizza menu or some idiot who doesn't know what a mailbox is. But then I squinted at the handwriting, my handwriting. No, seriously, that's not a joke. My exact scribble, the one I've been told, looks like a 12-year-old left-handed kid tried to write cursive while being tickled. And it wasn't just my handwriting, it was my handwriting perfectly intact, the kind of neat I can't even manage on a good day. I stared at it for a solid 30 seconds before I picked it up. My apartment is small, so the echo of my heartbeat in my own skull made it feel like some horror movie. I tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper, yellowed like it had aged decades in a musty attic. My eyes darted to the top right corner and froze. March 12th, 2040. I blinked, then blinked again, then laughed, because obviously this is a prank, right? Someone got me good. Either a sick friend or one of those internet weirdos who can somehow get your handwriting by copying your Instagram captions. But then I read the letter, and I swear read it, I wish I hadn't. It said, Ryan, tomorrow, do not take the 8:15 bus to work. You will be hurt if you do. Follow the usual route on foot or take the subway. Trust me. Okay, I muttered to myself. This is definitely someone trolling me, but then it went deeper. Stranger. Remember your first crush? The one in 8th grade, Lindsay? She still has the necklace you gave her. She never told anyone. And yes, you still owe Noah $10 from that bet in college. Pay it tomorrow. Everything in the letter was personal. Creepy personal. Specific things that only I could know. My first crush. A bet I'd totally forgotten about until it was written in front of me. The words felt like they were crawling into my brain and rearranging my thoughts. I laughed nervously, shoved the letter in my pocket, and decided to ignore it. That's a reasonable reaction, right? Ignore a letter claiming to be from your future self, warning you about an accident. Totally normal. Morning came and I was jittery. Coffee in hand, bag slung over my shoulder, I looked at the bus schedule, 8:15 a.m. The usual bus. The letter was clear. Don't take it. I hesitated. My brain was screaming. It's a prank. Don't be a wimp. But something about the way the words were written, like someone knew exactly how my mind works. I paused. Then I grabbed my sneakers and started walking. Halfway down the block, I passed the bus stop. The 8:15 bus rolled up exactly as the letter predicted. I froze. And then I saw it. A minor accident. Or, well, not minor. A delivery truck had collided with the bus, front end crushed, glass everywhere, people screaming. My stomach dropped. I didn't even think. I kept walking. I couldn't believe what I had just avoided. By the time I got to the office, I was pale, shaky, and completely rattled. Lena, my girlfriend, noticed immediately. She's sharp that way. What happened? She asked. I held up the letter. I don't even know how to explain this. Something saved my life today. She laughed. Ryan, what are you talking about? You're walking like you've seen a ghost. Did you miss your bus again? I waved the joke away, but inside I was thinking, no, Lena, you don't get it. It wasn't a bus miss. It was a warning, and the warning worked. The whole day I couldn't focus. Emails blurred. My boss, Mr. Whitaker, was giving me the death stare for some forgotten report. But I didn't care. I kept thinking about the letter, the handwriting, the date, 2040, 15 years in the future. That's insane. Impossible. But what if it wasn't? By evening, I was pacing my tiny apartment, staring at the envelope again. I kept turning it over in my hands. The handwriting didn't match mine today. It was better, more deliberate, older, steadier. Someone who had lived through a lot more than me. I thought about ignoring it, tossing it, pretending I was sane. But a part of me, a big part, wanted answers. I needed to know who sent it and why. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside my window made me jump. Every email notification made me think someone was watching. And then it hit me. What if the letter was just the beginning? The next morning, I checked under my door. Nothing. For now. But I knew, deep down, this was far from over. Whoever or whatever was behind the letter, they weren't done with me yet. I can't explain the fear, the thrill, the terror, and disbelief all wrapped up in one weird cocktail of emotions. But I promise you, Reddit, I've never felt more alive. Or more paranoid. And that's how it started. One letter, one impossible warning, one life saved. Tomorrow, I have no idea what comes next. But I know one thing, I'm not just walking into work anymore. I'm walking into something much, much bigger. Something I'm not ready for. I thought yesterday's letter was a one-off. Something weird that happened and would never happen again. Man, was I wrong. I woke up the next morning to the faint sound of shuffling paper sliding under my door. Groaning, I rolled over and grabbed it. Another envelope. Same yellowed, aged paper. Same handwriting. My handwriting. Only more precise this time. Like it had matured overnight. I sat on the edge of my bed, coffee forgotten on the counter, staring at it like it was going to jump off and explain itself. My first instinct was to burn it, toss it, pretend I hadn't seen it. But the memory of yesterday, the bus, the accident, the panic, I couldn't. My hands shook as I opened it. Ryan, today at 3:15 p.m., you will almost lose your promotion because of a minor mistake in the Henderson report. Do not panic. Review the spreadsheet twice. Ignore Jenna's comments. They are irrelevant. You will receive a chance to fix it. Take it. I laughed nervously, out loud, because it sounded absurd. I mean, who even writes stuff like that? Except, I checked my calendar. 3:15 p.m. Henderson report? That meeting was scheduled yesterday. I hadn't even opened it yet. My heart started to race. The letter knew exactly what was happening in my day. I tried to convince myself someone was playing the most elaborate prank imaginable. But who? Noah? Lena? Some coworker? Someone who had hacked my calendar and somehow tracked my life? Too much effort for a prank? Too specific? Too personal. By the time I reached work, a paranoia had already set in. Every glance felt like a trap. Every casual comment from coworkers sounded like a warning. I avoided Jenna Clark, who usually delighted in poking fun at my neurotic tendencies, but today I suspected she might be an agent in some secret conspiracy. The clock ticked toward 3:15 p.m. I opened the Henderson report, double-checked every number, every formula. I ignored Jenna, just like the letter said. And wouldn't you know it, a small typo in a column would have cost me the promotion. But because I had checked twice, because the letter told me to, I caught it. Disaster averted. I don't know how to explain it. Read it. I really don't. Someone or something was guiding me, and it wasn't stopping. Another envelope appeared that evening. This one wasn't work-related, personal. Ryan, tonight, do not drink the whiskey you found in your freezer. The one you bought last month. Someone will spike it. You will feel a sudden wave of dizziness and regret. Do not take it. Eat the leftover pasta instead. Stay alive. I almost dropped the letter. Whiskey? Spiked? In my own apartment? I froze. I didn't even want to imagine the what-if scenario. And yet, I followed the instructions. Ate cold pasta, went to bed shaking and paranoid, staring at every shadow in my apartment. At this point, I had to know. Who was doing this? How could someone know so many intimate details about my life? The next morning, I pulled up my laptop. I started a forensic deep dive. Handwriting analysis, cameras on my door, motion detectors, whatever I could think of. I wanted proof. I needed evidence that this wasn't just me losing my mind. I even went to Noah. I needed someone I trusted. Someone who could tell me I wasn't crazy. Noah, I said, sliding the letters across the table at our usual coffee spot. Look at this. Someone is sending me letters from the future. My future. I swear. Look. Noah leaned back, smirking, half amused, half concerned. Dude, I think you need to lay off the energy drinks. Are we talking time travel prank or what? I'm serious, I snapped. Look at these details. Only I know them. Only I know. Things no one else remembers. Lindsay's necklace, the bed in college, the Henderson report. Do you understand? Someone is predicting my life. Noah shook his head. Ryan, I mean, it's kind of creative, I'll give you that. But come on, maybe you're just stressed? I mean, it's been a long week. Maybe your brain is filling in the blanks. Or maybe someone is pranking you. But letters from your future self? Man, that's next level. I left the coffee shop feeling more alone than ever. Noah didn't believe me. No one believed me. And the letters kept coming. One arrived that night with a single line repeated at the bottom. Don't trust the one closest to you. It was scrawled 3 times, like a warning carved into my skull. I stared at it for what felt like hours. My chest tightened. Who could it mean? Lena? Noah? My boss? Someone I hadn't even considered? Paranoia became my constant companion. Every casual glance from Lena felt like suspicion. Every friendly text from Noah made me wonder if he was hiding something. Every smile from Mr. Whitaker seemed calculated. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I installed a small camera at my door. I stayed awake most nights just waiting for the letters to appear. And when they did, it was always exactly when the letter said it would arrive. One night, I tried to confront Lena about the letters. Have you seen anything weird? I asked, pacing my apartment like a caged animal. Like what? She said, eyes narrowing. Ryan, you're scaring me. You've been acting off. I'm worried about you. I hesitated. I wanted to tell her everything, every detail, but I held back. I couldn't. The letter said not to trust the one closest to me, and for some reason, I believed it. The next letter arrived at 2:47 a.m. I still remember the time because my phone chimed with a soft ding that made me jump out of bed. Ryan, tomorrow a stranger will approach you at the bus stop. He will offer help. Do not accept it. He is not what he seems. You will recognize him by his blue jacket and black backpack. Ignore him. I stared at the letter until my eyes blurred. A stranger? At the bus stop? At 7:45 a.m.? And what the hell did not what he seems even mean? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop thinking. By now, paranoia had completely taken over my life. I suspected everyone. I avoided friends. I stared at coworkers in meetings, trying to decipher hidden intentions. Every casual glance, every tiny gesture felt like a coded warning. The letters weren't just guidance anymore, they were a leash, a puppet master pulling strings I couldn't see. And the repetition, that line, over and over, don't trust the one closest to you. It echoed in my head like a drumbeat I couldn't escape. It made me question Lena, Noah, even myself. I didn't know what was real anymore. I didn't know what I could trust. I couldn't go to work without checking everything. I triple-checked emails, spreadsheets, and every little interaction. I started writing down every letter, every instruction, every time it arrived, trying to find a pattern, trying to regain some control. But the more I tried, the more I realized there might be no control. And that's when I started wondering, what if this isn't about saving me? What if this is about teaching me, testing me, preparing me for something bigger, something I couldn't even imagine yet? I went to bed that night, exhausted, heart pounding, letters stacked on my desk like a monument to my own paranoia. I tried to ignore the fear that had taken root in my chest. Tomorrow, I thought. Tomorrow I'll see what happens. But deep down, I knew the letters weren't done with me yet. And neither was the paranoia. By now, my life had become a series of paranoid checklists. Every morning, I woke up wondering what the letters wanted me to do today. And every night, I went to bed wondering how anyone could know the things they knew. And then, somehow, it got worse. It started at work in the middle of a dull Monday meeting. Mr. Whitaker, my boss, was going over the latest campaign results, but I couldn't focus. Every word he said sounded like it had a hidden meaning. Every glance felt like a test. I kept thinking, is he the one I'm supposed to distrust? The letters had warned me about someone close, and honestly, that could be anyone. Noah, Lena, Mr. Whitaker, even Jenna. Every casual smile or joke now carried an air of potential betrayal. I started with Noah. He was sitting across from me at our usual lunch spot, laughing at something on his phone. I watched him carefully, watched the way his fingers moved, the way his eyes darted, the way he smiled. I wanted to believe he was harmless, but the letter had said, don't trust the one closest to you, and who could be closer than your best friend? So I started cautiously. Have you noticed anything weird lately? Noah raised an eyebrow. Weird? Like what? The weather? My amazing hair? I gave him a suspicious look. Noah, I mean, unusual stuff? Letters? Strange things happening around me? He laughed, a loud, awkward laugh. Ryan, buddy, you've lost it. Next you'll tell me aliens are writing you emails. Come on, man. I didn't smile. Something in his expression. Something flickered across his eyes. A hesitation? A micro-expression I couldn't quite read. My stomach sank. Is he hiding something? I decided to follow him after work. Not in a creepy, stalker way. Well, maybe a little, but I needed answers. I tailed him down the street, ducking into alleyways and trying not to breathe too loud. He turned a corner and went into a building I didn't recognize. Peeking through a grimy window, I saw him talking to someone, passing a thick envelope. My heart stopped. Was it one of the letters? Was Noah involved? My thoughts raced. But when I got closer, listening as best as I could, I realized the envelope contained legal documents for a side business Noah had been running quietly. Nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the letters. A red herring. My paranoia had gotten the best of me again. I leaned against a lamppost, exhaling shakily. Noah wasn't the traitor. He wasn't the one sending the letters, but that still didn't explain everything else. When I got home, I found another envelope. Same handwriting, same yellowed paper, only this one wasn't addressed just to me. Ryan, she knows. Do not trust your instincts yet. Work together, but be cautious. I froze. She knows? She? I turned around to see Lena standing in the doorway, holding a letter identical to mine. Her eyes were wide and she looked as shocked as I felt. Ryan, she whispered. You've been getting these too? My voice caught in my throat. You know about the letters? She nodded slowly, almost reluctantly. I got mine about a week ago. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if you'd believe me, or if it was safe to tell anyone. I sank into a chair, my brain spinning. So, it's not just me? We're both trapped in this? Lena nodded again, her fingers twisting the letter nervously. Exactly. And it's not just warnings anymore. It's instructions. Specific things we're supposed to do. Things that change what happens next. I swallowed hard. Instructions? Like what? She glanced down at her letter. Like, don't go to a certain place. Don't speak to someone. Do this instead. It's guiding us. And I think it knows everything about us. Everything. My heart hammered. It all made sense now. The precision, the personal details, Lindsay's necklace, the Henderson report, the bet I'd made with Noah in college. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't a prank. It was someone or something controlling the pieces. We spent hours comparing letters, trying to find patterns, trying to figure out the logic. That eeriest part was how the letters complemented each other, warning us not to cross paths in certain situations, or subtly nudging us toward choices we might not have made otherwise. And yet, the one line kept repeating in hers too. Don't trust the one closest to you. Now it applied to both of us, not just individually. It felt like a trap, a puzzle, a cruel joke written into our lives. Who are we not supposed to trust? Each other? Someone else entirely? The next day, we tested a warning together. Lena had a letter saying to avoid a certain cafe because someone would confront her about something personal she didn't want revealed. We went there anyway, just to see, and the exact person mentioned, someone from her past, walked in. Her face went pale. We ducked out and left before they could see us. The letters were real. They were accurate. And they were controlling more than just small events. They were manipulating our decisions. By the end of the week, we had established a fragile alliance. Neither of us fully trusted the other, but we had to work together to survive the instructions. It felt like playing chess with a master who knew our every move before we did. And all the while, Mr. Whitaker and Jenna continued to exist in the background. Every glance, every word felt loaded with potential danger. I couldn't tell if they were pawns, distractions, or real threats. Noah was still unaware of the full scope. I didn't tell him. Not yet. Part of me didn't trust him to keep it a secret, even though the letters had cleared him. I didn't know if my paranoia was justified or not. By the time Sunday rolled around, we were exhausted, mentally drained, living our lives according to letters that seemed to know us better than we knew ourselves. And then another envelope appeared, slid under my apartment door at 11:37 p.m. Lena had hers too, simultaneously. We read them together, sitting on the floor, with the letters spread between us like maps of our fate. Ryan and Lena atasi inti. The next step will test you both. You will need to rely on each other, but trust no one else. Some will pretend to help. Do not fall for it. The path is narrow, the danger real. We looked at each other. The words hung in the air, heavy, oppressive. We were partners now, whether we liked it or not, bound together in a game we hadn't signed up for. I realized then that the letters weren't just warnings. They were a force shaping our lives, testing us, controlling us, and whatever or whoever was behind them. They had far more reach than I had imagined. That night, we sat together, reading our letters over and over, trying to memorize the instructions, trying to anticipate what would happen next. I couldn't shake the line repeating in my mind. Don't trust the one closest to you. It didn't just mean Noah anymore, or even Lena. It meant anyone, everyone, and maybe even ourselves. By the time dawn broke, I had accepted it. We were trapped in a puzzle, a game, a set of instructions we couldn't escape. And the first true test was already on the horizon. We had no idea how far this rabbit hole went. But one thing was clear, the letters weren't done with us yet. And neither were the lies. By the time my nightmare began, I had stopped thinking about the letters as mere warnings. That was naive, amateurish even. They weren't just preventing disasters anymore, they were giving instructions, commands, directives that felt like someone was reaching through time and yanking me along a path I couldn't control. It started with the first command. Ryan, go to the corner of 5th and Willow at exactly 7:03 p.m. tonight. Take nothing with you. Do not speak unless spoken to. I stared at the envelope for so long, my cat gave me a judgmental look, tail flicking in disbelief. Go to the corner of 5th and Willow, alone, at 7:03 p.m., and for what? I wanted to argue. I wanted to throw the letter away and pretend I didn't see it. But deep down, I knew better. Deep down, I knew that walking away would bring consequences I wasn't willing to face. By the time 7:03 p.m. rolled around, I was pacing the street corner like a nervous actor in a play I hadn't rehearsed for. The air was crisp, the city humming around me, lights reflecting off wet pavement from an earlier drizzle. I checked my watch for the 10th time, my heart hammering in anticipation. Then I saw him. A man standing just a few feet away wearing a blue jacket and a black backpack, exactly as the letter described. I froze. My mind screamed at me. Don't trust him. But the man didn't move closer, didn't approach. He just waited, watching. And then he spoke. You're Ryan, he said. No introduction, no hand extended. Just a statement. Yes, I said cautiously, voice tight. Who are you? He smiled faintly, not unkindly. Call me Elias. I know what's coming. What's coming? I asked, instinctively glancing over my shoulder. Every shadow felt alive. Every stranger walking by seemed like they might be part of some trap. Elias didn't answer immediately. Instead, he leaned slightly closer, whispering as if even the city around us could overhear. You don't realize it yet, but the letters are not saving you. They're directing you, shaping your life, preparing you. I wanted to laugh, wanted to scream, wanted to run. Instead, I just nodded, feeling like a mouse caught in some grand, unknowable experiment. Before I could ask another question, movement in the periphery caught my eye. 2 figures, well-dressed, hooded, fast-moving, emerged from the street shadows. I couldn't see their faces, but I could feel their intent, their purpose, and it wasn't casual. They're after the letters, Elias said calmly, almost casually, like it was perfectly normal for people to chase strangers at night in the middle of a city intersection. What? Who? How? Why? I stammered. No time, he interrupted. Run, and just like that, the night erupted into chaos. I sprinted, heart slamming against my ribs, my lungs screaming for air. Elias was beside me, moving with uncanny speed and precision, dodging pedestrians and street obstacles like he knew exactly where every step would land. Behind us, the footsteps of our pursuers echoed, growing louder, closer. I darted down an alley, glancing back. The 2 figures followed, methodical, terrifyingly calm in their pursuit. This wasn't a random mugging. This was something else, something bigger. Why are they after us? I gasped, trying to match Elias's pace. Because they want what you have, he said. Not the letters. You, your choices, your decisions. The words chilled me. Not the letters, me. We turned a corner and I saw an abandoned building. Elias didn't hesitate. He motioned for me to follow inside. I leapt over debris, crashing through an old wooden door into darkness. My heart felt like it would tear out of my chest. Inside, it was dusty, silent, and smelled like mold and rust. I pressed myself against the wall, listening. Footsteps slowed outside. They weren't gone, but confused, searching. "Why are you helping me?" I whispered. Elias's eyes glinted in the faint light filtering through broken windows. "Because you're part of the plan. You don't know it yet, but every step you take has been orchestrated. The letters are guiding you towards something important. Something only you can do." I shook my head. "I don't understand. Why me? Why us? Why the letters? Why now?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Because time isn't linear. You think you're living one life, but you're living multiple versions of it simultaneously. The letters, they're a bridge. And you're the key." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw him out. I wanted to believe that this was all a nightmare I could wake up from. But the pounding footsteps outside reminded me that the danger was real. Suddenly, a beam of light cut through the broken window. Someone had found a way in. The chase resumed. We ran through hallways littered with old furniture, broken glass crunching under our feet. I could hear them calling out, voices muffled but urgent. We burst into another alley. I was gasping, dizzy, terrified, but Elias kept going, his calmness unnerving. It was like he knew the exact path to safety. "Why are you so calm?" I panted, stumbling over a trash can. "Because panic is predictable," he said simply, "and predictability is dangerous. You have to learn to move differently, think differently. The letters aren't just guiding you, they're teaching you." I wanted to argue, to say no, to refuse, but I couldn't. My body moved, lungs burning, heart hammering, adrenaline pushing me beyond reason. Finally, we reached a quiet side street. Elias glanced back. "They'll regroup. They always do, but for now, you're safe, momentarily." I sank to the ground, trying to catch my breath, hands trembling. "Safe for now? You said this isn't saving me, right? What does that mean?" He crouched beside me, voice low. "It means every letter, every warning, every instruction has been designed to get you to this point. Not to save you, to prepare you, to mold you into someone capable of what's coming next." "What's coming next?" My voice was almost a whisper. Elias smiled faintly, almost sad. "You'll see, soon, but remember this. Trust no one. Not even yourself." I sat there, absorbing every word, every sound, every shadow. My chest ached, my mind raced. The letters weren't just warnings, they were commands. Life-altering, impossible to ignore instructions that I couldn't refuse without risking everything. And the terrifying truth hit me like a punch to the gut. The chase wasn't just physical. The letters weren't just guiding me through dangers. They were shaping the path of my life. Every step, every decision, every choice I thought I was making freely was directed, controlled, orchestrated by someone I couldn't see, someone I couldn't reason with. Elias stood, brushing dust off his jacket. "You'll learn, slowly, step by step. But the next test, it will be harder, and there's no turning back." I nodded numbly, staring into the empty street, heart still racing, mind still reeling, and somewhere, deep down, I knew he was right. The letters had stopped being simple warnings. They had become my life, and the chase had just begun. By the time I got home that night, exhaustion had fused with a gnawing sense of dread. My muscles ached, my lungs still burned from the chase, but nothing compared to the mental fatigue. The letters had controlled my life, directed my every step, orchestrated my fears, and somehow I was still here. Somehow I had survived. But I knew it wasn't over. Deep down, I already feared what the next revelation would be. It started innocuously enough. I was pacing my apartment, staring at the stack of letters from the past few weeks, thinking about Elias's cryptic warnings. "Prepare for what's coming next." That phrase had replayed in my mind like a broken record. And then, when I bent down to pick up a fallen envelope from under the bed, I noticed something odd. It wasn't addressed to me, not in the usual scrawled handwriting. This envelope was different. Older, slightly faded, edges curled as if aged for decades. I hesitated. Something in my gut screamed both curiosity and terror. I opened it. Inside was a small note. "Check behind the loose panel in your bedroom closet. All will be revealed." I froze. Behind the panel, all will be revealed. My hands shook as I moved to the closet, sliding the coat hangers aside. There it was. A loose panel I'd never noticed before. It was thin, wooden, almost invisible. I pressed against it. It gave way. A small compartment revealed itself, containing dozens of envelopes, stacks upon stacks of letters. I pulled one out, my handwriting, my own, but not like the letters I'd been receiving. These were older, trembling in the ink, yet unmistakably mine. I blinked, stared, flipped through the pile, every letter dated, everyone written by me to me. I sank onto the floor, heart hammering. This isn't possible. And then it hit me like a punch straight to the gut. Every letter, every warning, every command, every survival, every escape, every decision I thought was orchestrated by some mysterious external force. It was me. I had been writing these letters, across time, across years I hadn't remembered living, a loop I hadn't understood. The letters weren't from a future stranger. They were from me, a version of me that existed in the future, guiding, shaping, forcing myself to survive, to continue the cycle. My mind spun. How had I written these letters? How had I remembered details I supposedly couldn't know? And most terrifyingly, why had I done it? Lena had been right. We were both trapped. But now, the trap wasn't just letters. The trap was time. I grabbed one letter at random and read it aloud to myself. "Ryan, don't trust anyone. Prepare for the chase. You will meet Elias. He will guide you for now, but your actions are your own. Remember, survival is not freedom. Every word resonated with the memories of the past week. Every warning, every command, every instinct I had followed. It all matched exactly what the letter predicted. I wasn't being saved. I was being directed, conditioned, prepared. The pile of letters was overwhelming. I flipped through dozens more. Some warned me about mundane things. A coffee spill, missing a bus. Others were chillingly precise, foretelling confrontations, instructions to lie, to flee, to hide. And now I realized I had written every single one. The loop wasn't just a metaphor. I was literally trapped, moving in a cycle where the future me wrote instructions for the past me. And I obeyed, without knowing, without question. I sank back against the wall, my mind screaming in disbelief. And then I noticed one envelope that looked different. The handwriting was my own, but older, shakier, heavier with experience. My hands trembled as I picked it up. The date, 50 years in the future. I hesitated. I shouldn't read it. I knew I shouldn't, but I did. It said simply, Ryan, the loop continues. You think you are free. You never were. Prepare for the next step. It will test you beyond your comprehension. Time has folded over itself. Your choices have always been mine, and my choices have always been yours. Remember this. You are both prisoner and author, subject and creator. Accept it or collapse beneath it. The letters will continue. You will continue. I will continue. I dropped the letter. My stomach nodded. My head spun. And just when I thought I might collapse into despair, I felt it. A soft, deliberate slide of paper under my apartment door. Another envelope. I froze. Another letter? From whom? I knew the answer before I even picked it up. The handwriting was impossibly aged. Shaky, tremulous, every line heavy with decades of living and surviving. This one wasn't just from a future me. It was from an older Ryan I could barely imagine existing. A version of myself that had endured countless loops, countless cycles, countless losses and victories I didn't remember. I opened it with shaking hands. Ryan, you are not free. You never were. Every step, every choice, every survival, every deception. It was all me. All of us. Across time, across loops, across letters. There is no escape. The game is eternal. The only question is, will you accept it or resist until you break? Either way, you will write the next letter, and the next, and the next, forever. I couldn't breathe. My mind screamed. I wanted to throw the letter across the room, to shred it, to set the apartment ablaze just to obliterate this endless cycle. But I knew it was pointless. I had written it. I would write it. I would always write it. I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. Lena had been at my side, silent and pale, reading her own letters and connecting the dots as we both realized the horrifying truth. The loop wasn't just in my head. It was real, concrete. I had created it, and yet I was trapped by it, bound by it, living within the boundaries I had unknowingly set for myself. We looked at each other, understanding without words. The letters had controlled us, shaped us, prepared us, and now we understood the final, horrifying truth. Survival had never been freedom. Survival had always been obedience. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of our apartment, under doors, in hidden panels, more letters waited. Dozens, hundreds, waiting for versions of us we hadn't yet become. Waiting for the next loop, waiting for the next survival, waiting for the next trap we would willingly step into. I tried to scream. I wanted to break free, but the envelope sliding under my door reminded me there was no escape. I had never been free, and the older me, watching through decades, knew it all. I picked up the newest letter, hands trembling, mind racing, and I read the first line. Ryan, it begins again. I dropped to my knees, staring at the envelope, at the letters, at the revelation that every decision, every survival, every step had been predetermined, that I was both the prisoner and the warden of my own life, that I had never been free and never would be. And for the first time in weeks, I understood the full, unrelenting truth. The game had no end. I wasn't just Ryan anymore. I was the loop. I was the letters. I was an endless cycle that would never stop, and there was nothing I could do about it. All right. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the story. We have so many more amazing stories coming your way, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Our goal is to reach 100K subscribers by the end of this year, and we'd love for you to be part of this journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.